I'm Paul Perkins with the check of your ag weather. A mix of rain and thunderstorms continues to lift northeast through this evening. A slight risk of severe storms, level 2 of 5, covers areas along and south of I-80 in central Nebraska on into central Kansas. There's a marginal risk of level 1 of 5 in other areas. The main risks are half-dollar size hail and wind gusts over 60. An isolated tornado threat is along and south of I-80. Rain amounts are expected to range from a quarter inch to 3/4 of an inch. After this evening, the forecast is dry through the weekend. After highs today top out at around 70. Tomorrow, one of our warmest days of the next week, with highs in the mid-70s to the low 80s. In behind a cold front, highs Wednesday are still slightly warmer than normal in the mid-60s to the low 70s. A warm front leads to widespread highs in the 70s on Thursday. Another cold front drops those highs mostly to the 60s for Friday and Saturday. We'll see highs in the 70s return on Sunday. In the long-term forecast, warmer than normal temperatures are likely to continue this weekend through the first 3 days of November in Nebraska, Kansas, and the eastern two-thirds of the U.S. Something to watch. Cooler than normal air starts to build into the western U.S. the first part of November. By the early days of November in central Nebraska, daytime highs are usually in the upper 50s, and average overnight lows are around freezing. Nebraska and Kansas rainfall mostly near normal this weekend through early next week before a trend of above normal rainfall late next week through November 3rd. Key weather factors impacting the markets include limited rain in the U.S., good rainfall across South America in the next few days, and delays in South America soybean planting due to previously dry weather. The next 5 days, a lack of meaningful precipitation in much of the U.S. continues to favor harvest and field work, but limits topsoil moisture for emerging winter grains and cover crops. Parts of the plains, Midwest, and North receive some rain or snow, but amounts are likely to be light. Completely dry weather covers much of the southern U.S. for the rest of the week. Temperatures remain elevated for this time of year across most of the U.S., aside from brief incursions of cool air across the northern U.S. On the Mississippi River, water levels are very low again, causing restrictions on transportation. Restrictions on the Mississippi could last a long time, with very little precipitation predicted the next few weeks. In central Brazil, continued wet season rains favor soybean planting. Producers have not been able to make up the gap from late planting of soybeans in central Brazil and only have about 10 days left before it needs to be wrapped up. Towards Argentina, drought is reduced by recent rains for filling wheat and corn establishment. Widespread rainfall today through Wednesday in Argentina should be beneficial before drier weather returns. Soybean planting starts next month in Argentina, and more rain is needed to reduce the drought. Northwestern Europe and Italy are too wet, and more unwanted rain is predicted later this week. Eastern Europe is back to being drier after a wet period a couple of weeks ago, and some areas need rain for wheat establishment. With your check of ag weather, I'm Paul Perkins.